Welcome to Just Two Camera Guys. I'm Nick, and with me is
Emery.
and together we are Just Two Camera Guys, where we're going to talk about all things camera video related. Got some good ones today. We're going to be building our, what did you call it? Dream list?
Yeah, dream list, something like
Not
that.
really a dream list. It's basically saying if you were starting from scratch today and you had $50,000, what would you build?
Is that not like a dream list?
I guess. Um, Uh, I feel like I have $50,000 worth of gear though when they add everything up. Maybe I shouldn't advertise that.
Yeah. You collect this stuff over time, right? And like a lot of the stuff, like when we look at my list, is I own things, maybe some different versions of things. So some of it's like where I would maybe upgrade some stuff or whatever. And I even have some stuff on here on my list that I would like consider ridiculous for what I would do. Like actually, like one of the simplest examples, it's the last thing on my list. I'm gonna kill it now so I don't have to go over it, but some like 2-inch gaffer tape, 55 yards of it. It's on sale at B&H Photo for $17.74 American. Do you know what works just as good as gaff tape? Hockey tape. I keep it in every single bag of mine, and it's like $2.50 a roll. So I have it on there, but I mean it's a bit of a caveat thing. I would actually use hockey tape, not gaffer's tape.
Yeah, same thing. There's certain corners that I would probably cut with the sandbags. I'd probably buy a little bit cheaper of a sandbag package, and then I'd still make it up myself. So usually in the past, I'd went and bought like a bag of sand at Home Depot, filled up my sandbags with that. But
Stealing sand from the community sand in wintertime.
that's I've not done that. I did a video once about the dangers of sand in playgrounds.
What?
Yeah. No, it's a real thing.
You can't, you got to explain this now.
You can get Ehrlichia. It's called Ehrlichia. It's this disease of where something in the sand and because cats use it as washrooms. And this way you always have to wash your hands when you get home from the playground, like with the kids and stuff. Because if you play in the sand, touch your eyes, not good.
Crazy.
Well, yeah, don't eat it. Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, not good. Anyways, off topic there.
Well, we tend
But
to do that.
yeah, mine's a little confusing in a weird way because right now the lenses are changing quickly. So I would personally wait until Canon came out with RF cine camera, not the 70. What one was it?
C70, I believe, is
The C70, where you have to make a bunch of adapters, and I wouldn't want to mess around with that just yet. But yeah, because when you're filming with the 2-tier system where you've got your audio separate from your video, it's great if you've got more people, but you're just a single run and gun. I don't know. There's just too many steps. I just like to be able to hit record. It records audio, it records video. There's no messing around. When I did it with both, I literally have had takes where I'd be recording and oops, forgot to roll the audio on that one. And yeah, I don't know. Didn't like it. Don't want to go back to it.
Do you know what I'm gonna say before we get into this too? Mine's a little bit weird because of the Canon system too. Obviously, we're both Canon guys.
Mm-hmm.
But mine probably didn't go the way people might expect it to go, and that's a product of what I shoot and how I shoot. Now, with that said, what we've done here for this episode is we've gone on to B&H Photo. When you create an account on B&H, you can make these wish lists and you can throw everything into these wish lists. And it's a good way to organize stuff. Now, as far as like purchasing stuff, personally, almost everything I have purchased has been local. The stuff I've purchased that has not been local, it's always like the weird little accessory things that like you just can't get here. So although we are on B&H, I would really say go to your local stores
Would
as
probably,
often. Yeah, and use B&H as a tool, right? As a reference point, read the reviews,
yeah.
see what things are all about. But yeah,
I
ultimately,
picked up some stuff when I'm in New York.
I've never actually
Such a
been
jerk.
there. I'm
You've
kind of
never been
impressed.
there.
I would love to go there someday.
Oh,
But
it's wild. So it's multiple floors. So it's like you walk in and it's in the middle of New York, right across from, I think it's literally the, um, what's the giant tower? Oh my goodness. Why am I blanking? Not the CN Tower. The one
it's
in
New
New
York.
York,
There's a lot of them.
but the big one, the super famous one that was built in the 30s, late 20s, early 30s, Empire State Building. It's like super close to it. And you go in and it's like massive, but then it's go up a floor, massive, go up another floor, massive, go up another floor, massive. And then when you, if you, when you buy something, they'll punch it in to this computer system and it goes and it picks it like automatically and then it puts it on this conveyor belt system and you can literally see your equipment travel down the floors to the checkout. It's really, really cool. um and you get to try, so you'll go in, well, at least this is how it was set up. They'd had just tons of tripods set up. You could go and test out all the tripods. You'd see all the camera bags. You can literally take a look, see what the camera bags are like. They'll hand you any lens. Like it's really, really cool. And they're all, for the most part, the staff tends to really know what they're talking about.
What we're going to go through, you're going to go through your video setup because you're still rocking video, more of a video person. And I'm going to go through a photographer setup, or more specifically, probably a landscape photographer. Again, just some different things because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, do you want to jump in? Do you want to share your screen and start us off?
So, because if I was working with a less of a budget, I would have went Canon C200. But just for now, I actually did still have the C200 on here as a B camera. My main camera, I did go with the C500. Didn't want to, just the dollar value difference to jump up higher than this didn't seem worth it to me. Here, I still get 5.9K. I can shoot full frame with this. I think I can get 120 frames a second at 4K with this. Let's see, it still has the dual pixel, and it's shooting in RAW as well. I can get my RAW modes. Plus, it has a bunch of other modes for like lower rate recording when you don't need RAW.
So why would you go with a body like this versus something like a little more crazier, like what is it, the FX90, which is like that, the one they use for like BBC nature documentaries and all that stuff? Like what's the
Yeah.
value of something like this?
Well, for me, so I did think about going, for example, I was kind of humming and hawing as to going red camera.
I was gonna suggest red as well, right?
I was really humming and hawing about that. But for me, there's a certain comfort level of I know what I can make Canon do, and I know when I shoot it that what it can look like after, and those two things match up. Whereas I still have never been able to get that exact image from Red or Sony that I kind of have in my head, and to get it on the screen. So here, well, I guess it is okay. I was wrong. I must have misread something before. So I'm only getting 60 frames at 6K basically and 4K. And then I have to go down to 10-bit 1080p to get 120 frames. So I did misread that. Yeah, I just prefer the look of this, which is why I went with um the C500, and then they're just so cheap. When I back up here, the C200. So as a B body or like a backup body or just one that I can throw in get a second angle on. 5,500 US for what you get in the camera. That's crazy. Like,
and both are shooting
crazy.
Canon RAW, right?
Yeah. So they're going to match up near perfectly. You're just going to get a little bit more to play with the C500, which would be nice, but man, if you don't have that extra 10 grand, I wouldn't even bother. That seems like a little bit much. And then just to wrap up the rest of my bodies, I would go with the DJI Mini 2. $600, so cheap, adds so much production value to shoot. You don't need a license to fly it, at least to my knowledge. I'm not a lawyer or anything. It's beautiful. Now, I've never even flown the Mini 2. I've flown the Mini 1 a lot, actually. And it's crazy, like crazy. Next, I am going to go lenses just because that makes sense. I would go with the Prime kit. This is basically, you could take all of these lenses and just put the RF on them and imagine that Canon's come out with a new body. Because this doesn't make sense to me right now. But the lenses that I would want in my kit, the 50 millimeter, I would go 1.2 without a doubt. I get the 35 millimeter 1.4, the 85 millimeter 1.2, and the 14 millimeter 2.8.
So you have the 24 to 70. Why?
I do have the 24 to 70 on there. I probably would put the 24 to 105 f4 on there as well. Just because there's certain things that I've been shooting lately where I like having that zoom and just that almost news-ish camera guy feel to it in a way. And it's just something that I want to have. Actually, the 24 to 70 is a lens that I don't have it in my kit right now. And it's one that I really do want to. Now the 50 millimeter 1.2, I don't have that lens either. And it's one that there's several situations that I do wish I have it, because I'll set up in a room and I just can't get back far enough to make the 85 1.2 work. And having that 51.2 would open up a lot of options. But for me right now, does it open up $1,400 US worth of options? I don't know. The 70 to 200, that is also one of my my favorite lenses. I don't have it because a good friend of mine owns it and I can borrow it from him anytime I want. But it is a difference having it in your own kit versus having to borrow it, because then you only end up using it a couple of times a year.
Cool. So is it overkill to do zooms and primes?
Yes, but no, because video is a different animal to me. There's a lot of situations where you'll want to have in-camera zooms. So no, for those reasons, but 9 times out of 10, 9.9 times out of 10, the prime is going to look better. It's going to look sharper. It's going to be better quality. But there's still enough scenarios in video that you kind of want to zoom. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Sports, you're wanting to zoom in on stuff. There's certain, even when you're doing drama and different things, where you'll just want to zoom in on something, zoom back out. I like having the zoom feature. Okay, so then next, so basically when I started getting my boom mic set up, I got a cheap boom mic and a cheap boom pole, and then the boom pole broke and I sold the mic and upgraded the mic to a better one. And then that one wasn't good enough yet, so I sold that one and upgraded again. So literally on my third boom mic right now. But had I started with just a really good one, it would have saved me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But not, it's hard if you don't have the cash for it though too, which I didn't. So I don't know how I would do it differently. But from all the reading that I did on it, this little beauty right here, I don't even know how to say it, how to pronounce it, but it looks amazing. And if I had that cash to start off with this is what I would get.
Yeah, that's an interesting dark horse. I like it.
I'm going to scroll down to the rest of the audio stuff here. Just a cheap pair of headphones because I personally can't really tell the difference with crazy headphones. And I found that too expensive headphones make everything sound too good. So I would get just those headphones. And then this is where it starts to get interesting. If I was starting over, I would get the electrosonic wireless mics because there's so many times with my Sennheiser ones where it just drops out and or it does a crackle, it does a snap, does a click. For 26, basically 2,700 US, 3,500 Canadian. Man, these things are just beauties.
Your Sens are G3s.
Yeah, mine are.
What about like if someone's working on a budget? Would you recommend the G3s?
Oh, for sure. And I actually have those things in. I'm going to back up here. In this kit, I would even buy, if I had this money and I had to spend it on camera gear, I would buy, they're G4s now, but I would buy this 2 kit. This is cheaper than all of those. So this is 1,800 bucks Canadian, 1,500 US. And it's a nice little kit. They work great. They really do. And I wouldn't want to go out when you got 2 bodies, just having 2 mics. I'd want to have 4 so that I could use up all my audio slots if I needed it for those kind of situations.
Yeah, for sure. I personally have used the Sony UW somethings. They're sort of Sony's comparable thing to the G series from Sennheiser. They're cheaper. I like them. I would use.
Oh, you
those
like
too.
the Sony ones?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know because I've never used the Sony ones. So many people that have the electrosonics just swear by them. They love them, and yeah, 2,600 US is a lot of money. But man, I don't know. I added this little fuzzy wind buster. Didn't really need to do that, just for labs. But those things can save you so much, filming out in the wind. And then I added a boom pole, just a cheaper one, couple $100. My boom pole, it had one of these little XLR adapters on it. It's cut off now because it broke eventually, but handy while it works. What a boom pole allows me to do, because I actually rarely travel with a boom guy. So what I do, I've got it on here. I plug in this boom pole grip head, attaches onto a C stand, put my boom pole on that, and set up.
If you click the customer stuff, I wonder if it shows it.
Yeah, there we go. Just fits into a C stand like that. It's so good. It's so good. I love teasing Brocco where I'll send him a picture of that thing hooked up to the boom pole and tell him he's been replaced and stuff like that. It's really funny. Well, funny for me, probably not for him. And then I would get just 3 C stands. I have 3 C. Actually, I have 2 C stands right now, but this case looks sweet.
Yeah, that's a pretty slick little kit.
Because my C stands, they just kind of roll around loose right now. This is nice. I should actually look into getting this. But yeah, C stands, you can use them for anything. You can use them for I usually use it for my microphone, but you can set up flags with it. I didn't actually include flags in this particular kit because, well, A, I forgot. But B, I rarely pull them out anymore. Like, I'll use them when fractions matter. Like when somebody really needs that elite high level product and they're paying for it. But
like Leroy and Leroy.
Yeah. But most of the stuff, it's switched. You were complaining about it earlier where it's switched to more content and less quality. And I just don't have the time and budget on most shoots to use them anymore. So it gets dropped because you're only out there for a couple hours in and out. I should have just thrown a flag kit on here, like a $500 travel flag kit, put it in there, totally worth it. I did throw a monitor on here just because I'm getting old, and the little monitors that the cameras come with just aren't enough anymore. So it would be nice to have a really high quality monitor. This is interesting. We should go to support here. Support Easy Rig. Have you used one of these Easy Rigs before?
I have not. They look too goofy.
So they look goofy. Let's see if there's any goofy people here with them. So what they allow you to do is basically roll handheld all day with no like strain on your shoulder as much, on your back. Kind of distributes the weight a lot better. And they're nice, like really, really nice to use. I don't have one now. I will probably get one at a certain point for Leroy and Leroy.
Or just shoot on your phone, lighten your load, Nick.
But the problem is then this takes you from stealth to obvious, right?
Yeah.
Because you're obviously a film crew when you show up with this, and you can't film inside the West Edmonton Mall anymore. Or
yeah, so I'm kind of being a jerk to you about this, but the reality of the situation, like what does your camera weigh when you're holding it? Is like 10 pounds, maybe 8 pounds?
Yeah, probably
So,
about 7 or 8 pounds.
Yeah, so when you're out shooting even something like Leroy and Leroy of all things, you're literally holding that thing for hours at a time. Like it's a lot of weight. So this is what you're talking about. This is why it saves your back, because it actually holds the camera up for you.
Yeah.
I get it, but I would still just be like, no way, man. I'm a man. I can handle this.
Well,
I'm not judging you. I think it's the right call. Like, don't get me wrong.
I would just rather it helps with other things though too. It does help you with smoothness on your handheld shots. It helps you on keeping things level. It allows you to repeat shots a lot easier. There's so many pluses to it, because suddenly instead of taking something that's awkward and stuff, it's basically carrying all the weight and you're just finessing it. It's almost turns it into a tripod, really. There's cheaper ones than this. You can get ones for $200-300, but it's just they don't distribute the weight quite as well. The sticks. See, this is something that could easily have spent 20 grand on a nice pair of sticks.
I'm actually surprised that's cheaper. I would tell you a solid tripod is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah. These Benros are so crazy good though. They're really nice. So this is a step up from mine that I have right now. And I don't know. They're nice. They're so nice. The one thing that I might want to add is just a really light, quick pair of sticks. I really like having just a light, quick pair of sticks. But
here's the funny part: is I have more money put into tripods than you do.
That is funny. I would have said tripod, put $20,000 in tripod before, but Benrose kind of changed it. They're pretty good. Some boring stuff. The bag, this little articulating arm. I'd want it just for the monitor. This bag, this Sackler doctor bag, I'd want to get a couple of them. It's nice to just sometimes store your camera in, hit the road. Don't need much stuff. Bunch of memory cards. It's just sadly you need them. Not much you can do. These wheel carry-on cases. If you're buying one of these, make sure you get the kind that you can carry on to airplanes. Like, because I don't want to get separated from my gear when I'm flying. So just get the carry-on ones. You can carry it on. They'll let you carry on. At least they've always always have with me. I'll take on my literal Sackler sticks and this wheelie carry on, and they let me carry it on every time because my sticks count as my personal item. Even though they're big, it's like I just tell them that I've always carried them on, and everybody lets me, and then they let me.
Airport hacks with Nick Lamb.
No, I'm serious, because I had somebody say, "Oh, those won't go," and I just said, "I've always carried these on," and they're like, "Oh, okay." All right, I'm gonna try to wrap it up a little bit here. I'm dragging on. With lights, I was really torn because I was kind of thinking, okay, do I want to get the really fancy roto light kits? But the more I looked into it, man, there's a reason why people use these Aperture 120Ds, and to just pick up a 3-pack of those, the one problem is that they're set to daylight, but just throw up a gel. Gels cost what, $3 each? So these I would use as my front lights, or fill lights, or kind of lighten up the background and stuff, because they're just amazing. And then I would get 3 of these Aperture lantern soft boxes as well, because this allows me to use them as front lights, really diffuse the light, set it up however I want there. These things are nice. They just clip on the front. Yeah, those are nice. And then I was looking into this too, and I hadn't seen these before. I didn't even realize they had them, but they've got these Fresnel attachments, which basically allow you to focus the light a little bit more, 12 degrees to 40 degrees, which would be sweet. So you could suddenly use it as a backlight. You could use it as a little pin light, use it as like a little kicker onto stuff. Yeah, it really opens up, makes that light very versatile. And I might not need, so I've got one of these on here just because I'm not sure how that Fresnel attachment's going to work. But I wouldn't want to go without this for now for a backlight. Just the classic Emery 650 tungsten Fresnel.
So you're
The
mixing daylight
way
and
that
tungsten.
it wraps the light around. Well, I'd throw a gel on it, right?
Nick's answer to everything. I'd just throw a gel on.
Because I can gel up the other ones to run tungsten, and I could gel up. So yeah, is there a better solution? Probably. This area might need some more research. This is in here just because I know what this light can do, and it can punch up so much background. And let's see. Oh, I got a scrim for that, so I could talk some scrims in, which basically bring it down 1, 2 stops, whatever you need. I'd get some barn doors for it because that light without barn doors useless. Batteries. So the batteries here, believe it or not, they're not for the camera. These would be for the Aperture lights. So you could take them kind of anywhere. It should be nice. Here's all my gels. I just would want them.
Are your lights currently not battery?
No, my lights. So I've got a mixture. My front lights, which I've got the big soft boxes, plug in. My backlights, the Emery like Fresnel, plug in. But then I've got those 3 roto light kits. This little guy. Let's see. A little roto light that I use, but it just doesn't put enough power, right?
All my lights I have are battery.
Yeah, you're not really filming inside a studio or controlled environment very often.
Do you know what though? I would actually put those up against stuff like that though too, even though they're cheaper lights and all on battery. The only thing that is a bit of a concern is when you do take them out. I don't even know how long the batteries last. I've never run them dead, and I don't know like how dead I've run them.
So this Aperture MC12 light kit Have you seen these aperture MC lights in action before?
Uh, are they just all those little lights that everyone uses? Just
They're
12 of them?
just each one of them a little light. They're little battery
Yeah.
powered things, but they're RGB.
Yeah.
So you can turn your background in any crazy color you want. For this wouldn't have been a necessary thing even 2, 3 years ago, but uh, now to stand out, you kind of need this. So you can basically, I would use it to change the color of my background. So suddenly, if I'm doing an interview, I can make my background blue, purple, green, whatever color I want that suits it, and highlight certain things with different color. Or I could just use it regular daylight, tungsten. This would just be a dream. But I, again, for me now, is it going to add 1,500 US to my shoots? Is it going to add to any of my billable hours, so to say? I don't think so. So I don't know. Sandbags. Do you have any sandbags in your kit, Emery?
I do not. For
Have you?
the office kit we had years ago, we did buy sandbags for it though.
Okay. Um, when you're shooting stuff, so if you went out to a shoot now with gear, like a video shoot for work and stuff, you would want to have sandbags, I imagine. Because a lot of the stuff I'm shooting is safety. To show up without sandbags would be just borderline silly. Just having stands fall over and
We so for my current job too, like the little light kit we have, we basically have I'll call them a rip off of those apertures. So we've got 3 of them that go on stands. So like we don't really need sandbags for those.
yeah,
Because like
yeah,
if
and
that fell over and like hit you on the head, you would be like,
yeah,
was there a fly? Like they're
yeah,
beyond
yeah,
light,
you're
they're
right.
beyond anything. You're gonna break it before you do anything to anyone.
And that basically fills it out. I'm sure I missed some stuff. So,
Yeah, I think there's kind of a few surprises in there. I think there's some areas I probably would have cheaped out on. I'm gonna point to your microphones. I don't think, from the Sennheiser mic for your boom, I don't think that Sheps is gonna improve it that much. Um, to be 5 times the cost. I just can't see it improving it that much. Same with the lavs. I would still go the Sonys. I would put the Sonys up against G3s any day. Um,
mhm.
your other lavs, though, your expensive ones, I think I could be convinced on that because I do know I keep calling them G3s, G4s, and the Sonys.
Yeah,
They're pretty like standard lavs. They're nothing special. Whereas like that, your Sennheiser boom puts you sort of at a next level. Um, and then the other thing too is like what I
mhm.
would maybe consider purchasing is like I like the idea of having something mechanical. I'm okay with the idea of leaving a gimbal off, but I almost like the idea of having like a travel jib, something that I can make
Mm,
like nice smooth swings with.
yeah, yeah. I guess in my mind, I was just thinking I'll use the DJI Mini for that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's fair too. Actually, that's another maybe shock like that you wouldn't do a better one and just assume that you would get the thing. But I think your mentality there would be if you need something real, you would hire someone real.
Yes, because I don't have my um like my
Like,
certification to fly it.
yeah, and it's expensive to do. It's all a pain, and hiring um, Colin or someone who does it
Yeah,
all the time to do it is just it's going to be worth your time and effort to do that instead.
yeah. When I hired, like the last time I hired Colin, I was getting all my other shots. He showed up, told him the shot I wanted, and he just nailed it. Like, and then he comes up with 6 better ideas than I had. Totally worth it. Yeah, I felt like I was kind of stretching to get to the 60, but yeah, I maybe should have made it 35, 40, something like that, and just made it a little bit more realistic and taken that boom mic off maybe left off the second set of Sennheisers. There's some chaff in there.
Yeah. So to make things worse, I just looking at this one, I kind of have two setups. I actually had three, but I deleted one. I'll explain that later. Actually, I'll explain it now. I had a third in there that was like a film setup, but the problem is I basically have everything for a film right now. So like I don't even know what else I would get. And I got a used camera versus a new camera, which I probably would have done anyways, even though I put like a new camera on there and it was ridiculously expensive for some reason. I think because it was like but who cares? So that whole thing I just deleted because it was kind of useless. I have it. And I think realistically going the used way for that stuff is the way to go anyways. Now, the two options I have, I would actually probably run these cameras in tandem. And if I didn't, I think I would get the other option, which you can actually see at my tabs here. So option one is the GFX 100S. And option two here is the EOS R5. So I think this is a bit of a surprise. Two reasons. It's not a surprise to you that I was looking at that Fujifilm one, Nick, but it's not Canon, which would be a whole new system for me, which I would be totally fine with, but it's medium format. The other, I think, surprise in here is that I went with the EOS R5 rather than the R3. So the R3 is their new one that's coming out. It's sort of I would call it more catered to sports. It's a lot quicker. It's a lot more stuff, but the R5 has more resolution from what I can tell so far. So as a landscaper, that's why I went with the R5. If they do like an R5S, that would essentially switch that over. So the first thing that I did was I added a pile of these Tile Slim Bluetooth trackers.
That's smart.
I might actually change this to the Apple trackers. I think would probably be better, but the point is to throw these into your bags so that you can track them. When I go through all the gear, if I had the R5 and the GFX 100S, I would have multiple bags, so multiple trackers to throw in each bag. Then yeah,
I love that. That's great.
I honestly, I've not done it now, and it is something that I want to do. Like, and I've wanted to do it for years.
Even for your keys and wallet when you're on the road, when you're out filming, because you'll set them down because you're not really thinking straight, getting a shot. It's like, where'd my keys go? Where'd my wallet go? Where'd that bag? Yeah.
So you missed out on that, Nick.
That's a good idea.
Moving up from here, just a screen protector for the back of the screen. I just like doing that just to give it a little extra protection. My camera currently has it, so I would do it on this. The next thing's an L bracket that I would put on it, just so that you can switch from landscape to portrait quicker.
Yeah, TikToks.
Yeah, because that's what I'd be doing out in the woods. The next sort of section here is batteries. So basically you'd buy extra batteries, which doesn't even look like I put batteries on here. I'm sure they're somewhere. An extra battery charger, cases for the batteries, just because I like to have cases for things. I actually have I should have two battery cases on here somewhere. Again, just that mentality is so that the camera or the case for the batteries for the Canon would be different than the Fujifilm. This thing is a little bit of fun, this Tether Tools relay case. Actually, do you know what I did not put on here with that? And I should have, but ultimately what this allows me to do is plug in a battery into that camera and then basically use like a USB battery with this attachment. And I could run off of like a super huge USB battery. So like think like a star tracking time lapse all night long. This Tether Tools case, I actually do own this thing already for my camera, and as well as this bag, which is what I put everything in to keep it a little bit waterproof, especially when you're leaving it out overnight. It keeps condensation and stuff off it as well. A universal plug. I think that's self-explanatory. The
Mhm.
card for the camera, the card case for the cards, because again, I like cases.
Card case would be really good. Actually, I should have put one on mine.
Card reader.
I considered that computer, so I left that off.
That's fair. Here's my card reader now. So, and it sits by my computer all the time. So maybe you're right. The NAR box. So that's like a backup hard drive system that you could edit from. I'm not sure how the editing would be, but I threw it in anyways. Something like that, you might be able to just use a regular hard drive, or like what I currently use, which is nothing.
But that transfers straight from your SD to SSD. Is that the theory
Straight
behind that?
Yeah, straight from the card. You just plug it into the
Without a computer.
Yeah, and like I said, it does have like a interface to actually. So there would be your card slot. There is like an interface to actually edit with on it as well
I
that
like
you
that.
use from your iPad and stuff. Whether I would use that or not, I don't know. The USB-C for it and a case for it. And then the next thing too, just a USB drive all the time. I would take with me, maybe considered computer again, but I would always have one of those in my bag.
Yeah.
Lenses, the fun stuff. So I went lens crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start here, even though this is off. This should be like the first lens I buy. It would be the lens I would use all the time. Most of your shots would come off this as a landscaper, 15 to 35. The next lens that I would buy is the 70 to 200, 2.8 again too. I should have actually mentioned that. But between those two lenses, that's like you can almost do everything you could possibly want as a landscaper. Where things get interesting is if you want to do some specific things. So the long lens, the 100 to 500. I borrowed yours recently, and I basically made the choice to buy the 70 to 200 over that because I think I would get more out of that. But
I think you're right.
Yeah, what I'm going to miss is when you're out and you're doing landscape. I like to be a little opportunistic. If there's a deer jumping through a field, this won't do it, but this might. And then your next step up is this. But when you're looking at that price tag, that's right in the ouch.
Price tag. I bet you need a tripod for that puppy.
Yeah, you should use like probably a monopod and a gimbal or something like that, right? Now, realistically, Nick, would I do that? Probably not. What my kit is going to look like will be these two lenses. And if I want a zoom, I would probably do that RF 600 f11, just because it's smaller, it's cheaper. Yeah. Specializing again, the RF 85 1.2. Just you and I have talked about it. It's basically, this is our favorite lens between both of us. We both love it. Everything about it looks great. If you ever do any portraits, this is the lens I would use.
So versatile. It can do almost everything.
So
it can shoot headshots, it can shoot landscape, it can shoot B-roll, it can shoot everything. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So that one, again, not necessary, but something I'm actually still even considering, like, do I want this thing down the road? I might. The RF 100 macro, because again, when you're out and about getting certain things, having a macro. I think
I should have threw a macro on mine. I have that same lens right now. Well, not the same. I've got the EF version, but yeah, it shows up where you need it.
I tossed the idea around too of doing the 180 millimeter macro EF over this. This is dumb, but the reason I went with this one was strictly because it was RF. But I do kind of think like the 180 might be a better choice because when you're again out in landscapes doing things, I think the opportunity to do things are going to be, small bugs or whatever, and you really can't get that close to them. So having that little extra distance, I think would have helped out. But I think this is not a bad option. Now, this is where things get a little goofy. So these are the drop-in filter adapters for the EOS R system. So these would allow me to take EF lenses, which means above here are EF lenses. With these, you can buy the filters separately, but I'm lazy and I just want to have these attached to my lenses all the time. But hypothetically, you just buy one adapter with the different filters in here. So one's a circular polarizer, the other is a variable ND. Now, the reason I would want that is to attach to
other lens. What have you done?
Yeah, I told you, I'm lens crazy. So the first lens that would be really nice to have those on is the 8-15 fisheye EF 8-15 f4 fisheye lens. I currently own this lens.
This is just because they don't have RF yet, right?
Correct. And it's just a fun lens to work with. And realistically too, would I ever buy, so I already have this lens. Am I going to buy an RF version of this lens? No. So, because you use it so rarely, but when you do use it, you get excited for it all the time. So it's just fun.
Yeah.
The next lens I would do is the Canon TS-E 24 millimeter 3.5 tilt shift lens. I don't remember if I talked about it on the show or if I just talked to you about it, Nick, but I really like the idea of doing panoramics with these things.
My worry is that the next step from using this lens is suddenly you're wearing a beret, you're doing freestyle poetry at the bookstore on Tuesday nights.
Yeah, but like even too, like landscape stuff, right? Like this is an urban
it's
scape.
So cool.
It's so being able to shift that focus like that, it's a wild trick to do. And I think like applying that to landscape photography would be a lot of fun.
It's so cool.
They're
hard to use. Like it takes some literal time and skill to get used to using those.
Yeah, for sure. I went macro crazy. So this one was a bit of a dark horse, and I'm not gonna lie, I threw it in because I looked at these customer photos and was like, what?
Oh wow.
Yeah, that sold me. Like just being able to get that close and that wide macro. Some of these other ones kind of I don't care about, but yeah, being able to do that and that distortion and that view just that blew me away. Like I'm just
it's kind of cool.
Put me at a forced floor right up against a tree, and yeah. So I think there would be some value in that, and it's $500. Like who cares? Throw it in.
Yeah.
The last macro, Nick. Again, I'm not sure realistically I would do this, but every time I look at macro lenses, I look at this lens. This is the MPE 65 2.8 1 to 5 times macro lens. So do you know much about macros?
I no.
The reason people buy that 100 macro is because it's what they call 1-to-1. So in here, this one is 1 to 5. It's actually 1-to-5, but what 1-to-1 does is basically says that lens will make something equal to your sensor size. So in other words, 35 millimeter object should fit 35 millimeters in length on your lens. So 1-to-1. So what 1-to-5 does is makes it 5 times magnified.
Oh.
Oh
wow.
Yeah, like here's a penny.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a very interesting lens. So it's always something I've wanted, but like realistically,
I want that now too.
Realistically, would I? Maybe not.
That's a used pickup. That's where if you can find one for $300-400, maybe you go with it.
Yeah. The other thing I threw in here, Lens Babies, the optic swap thing for RF. I've always liked this twist one a little bit better than the rest of them, but again, just to sort of pull some weird optic stunts that you can't typically do. The twist is, I think, one of the more interesting ones, just like where it's rounding your bokeh out. Just another
You get
throw
the
on.
Curious George lens on there too.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then moving up, these are the last lenses, though, if you want to call them lenses. I put on two pinhole lenses. So they're both for EF, so I'd have to use the adapter with them. I actually do own pinhole lenses, but they are literally just a pinhole, whereas these ones have sort of some options that you can do with them to sort of affect the image. So
Oh my.
I threw them
You've been
on.
watching Philip Bloom lately? You can start taking your lens off while you're filming. You can do the fracking effect.
Yeah, actually, Nick, well, I have done some freelancing too. If you go to Black Ice Media on Facebook, you will see, like, in the signature files, there's one where it's got this like weird, I don't know what to call it. Like it's like a front bokeh of out of focus light. And that one's a freelance shot on this lake. And then there's actually a file folder in there. If you go to an album, I should call it. If you look at the albums, I actually have a pinhole album. So moving on, just a bubble for each of them. I'd probably get two of these. I only have it as one, but I'd probably get two. A shutter remote for.
I need to get one right now because I'm having trouble filming vertically and staying level. It's tricky.
I am not confident this would help you out because you're hand holding it, like where I'm on a tripod all the time, so I can check and just literally set it up to be like perfect and it's done.
Yeah, I need to get one I could just tape on my monitor.
Yeah, you almost need or if there's like some guidelines you could throw in your monitor. Anyways, a remote shutter for this thing. I currently own the Velo one. I like this one a lot. I don't know why people use other ones at this point. Or like you see those electronic ones, the Bluetooth ones all the time. And it just seemed like such a waste to me. But anyways, holder for it on the tripod. I would probably get two holders, one for each camera, each tripod. Battery lands, so AAAs, AA's, chargers, cases. Basically, these will power everything that you'll see in the future, the Shutter Boss, as well as flashlights above.
I should have got some AA batteries. I wasn't even thinking of that.
Right, especially for your microphones and stuff too.
Yeah.
3 different flashlights here. I like to do some light painting stuff. I currently own this one.
Okay, Emery, if you want to stop your prepper bag,
this one,
you can stock your prepper bag on your own time here.
Well, no, like I said, you do some light painting with these things, and that's where it really helps out. So like in the night when you need a little exposure on something, flashlight.
Yeah.
So it's one of the best tools I have. I love them. I'll never give them up. Headlamp, obviously, to see in the nighttime. Do you know what? Now that I'm just thinking of it too, I feel like I probably missed a lens on here. I think another lens I would actually consider, I've talked to you about this too, but if this one isn't quite good enough for Astro, I'd probably get a 24 1.4.
24, yeah.
So I'm missing a lens. I feel shame.
24 is 24 one? Yeah, 1.4.
Yeah. Just some silica for the bags to keep them dry, because when you're in and out, especially like I was out this weekend in the rain, things get wet.
Yeah.
Sensor cleaner swabs, always good to have on hand.
True.
Rain covers.
Got them.
I currently have some rain covers, and looking at these prices, I kind of wish I got these ones. These are just a lot nicer. So from Think Tank.
Now, you don't like building your own.
It's honestly, like, I mean, you know, you can use my boy Mark Denny, who I like. He uses like a shower cap all the time. He loves them because they save space. which I think is maybe probably the biggest point to them. I just like having something nice that actually covers it and I can sort of tighten it on. I
do like
find,
that circle tightener on it though. That's good.
yeah, right on the lens.
I can make a really good lens out of a clear garbage bag though. You just
Yeah.
slit the garbage bag down, and then the back part covers up the back, and then you put it down and you just clamp.
Yeah.
Put like those little bulldog clamps all the way around on the bottom. Works really nice.
Yeah.
In
So
my rain jacket, so literally in my rain jacket, I keep Ziploc bags, garbage bags, and bulldog clips because the only time you need those stuff is when it's raining, and you always take your rain jacket out with you when you're filming. So it's like it's always there.
that makes sense. And you know, I can't even tell you how many times I've used a garbage bag or something to do it.
Yeah, no, this would be nice. I just never thought, and it's really what, $30 for most of it. So why not?
Yeah. So this is I have this one, this is the medium one, and I have the small one from Lenscoat. And yeah, these ones even cost more. And I think the material on these are super nice. Like it's like your camera will never get wet. But I just feel, I just feel like the design on these are just a little bit better. Getting your hands in and out, the clear patch around so
Yeah,
you can sort of see
I do
stuff.
like that clear patch.
So
that's why I like the clear garbage bag, because it's all clear.
yeah. So yeah, I would probably get these doing it over again, even though I do like the ones I have. An underwater housing just seems fun. I can't tell you how many times I've thought about doing it and I never can. The funny thing for me too is the thing that I always like about it isn't actually underwater. I like the idea of half and half. Walkie-talkies, when you are up in northern Saskatchewan and no one's around anywhere, I like to think I would be with other people. Walkie-talkies would be good to have. So a good set. Multi-tools, you're going to see a few of these on here. I think they're a little bit disorganized. The first one here is this Leatherman one. The big reason for this is actually to have the pliers on this one. This small rig one up here.
And the flat screwdriver is always handy.
Yeah, like so this one basically has that. It's made for your plates, it's made for your tripods, all these things.
Oh,
so you don't have to
nice.
think about it. So it's good for the camera stuff, whereas this is more like adventure, keeping you good, allowing you to do a bunch of stuff.
I like the Gerber because you look cool. Wow. Okay. I don't actually look cool, but you think you look cool when you whip the thing out and it doesn't snap.
Yeah. And all black here. That's probably my style.
Yeah, it should. That was an oversight for me to not have that on mine.
Yeah. Pelican case. I think I can't remember what I actually imagined that holding, but
I think you got. Oh, you didn't get the airport carry on.
This one's smaller. I think I imagine.
Oh, it is smaller. Okay.
I think I imagine this holding like the radios and some other battery stuff and things like that. Some of the smaller stuff. Tripod number 1, Nick Lamb. So this would be my travel tripod, the Peak Design carbon fiber travel pod. Mostly, I don't think there's a tripod out there that packs up as small, goes as high, and is as light.
Yeah, that looks nice. Man, you could carry, that, because then you need your bag at what, 10 pounds?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's carrying a lot.
Yeah, if you're hiking in the bush or doing some cityscape thing, that's the tripod you probably want.
Yeah, that would be.
With
good.
it, I added some spike feet as well. I think there's some other accessories that might show up later in this. Anyways, the other thing I added is a camera strap. I do like the Peak Design stuff with the little anchor connectors, just so you can swap stuff out. So I'd do that. I don't know if I would keep this. I kind of have like 3 bags later. This is sort of like a throw-in.
Messenger bag is nice. A friend of mine's got that for stills.
I think it would be good for like if you were an urban photographer. Maybe not for me.
Because it doesn't. The nice thing is it kind of it's pretty discreet. You don't advertise that you have $10,000 worth of camera gear you're carrying around.
Another multi-tool thing here. So this is just a keychain version, so I always have one on my keychain. Although
Yeah.
with that said, I don't have my keys here. I have a custom tool on my keychain now that a guy named Tony who runs, oh man, Keen Edge knife sharpening. He made it for me out of some steel. Like put my business logo on it and stuff too. It's by far the favorite thing on my keychain, but I don't have it around to show.
That's cool.
So yeah, I wouldn't actually need this thing, but the idea of keeping it on my keychain is pretty mint. Tripod number 2. I'm not sure if this would be the tripod, but something like this. So the big advantage of this one is basically it's got longer legs, it's carbon fiber, so it's still fairly light. Its load capacity is beyond anything you would ever have. Its minimum height is 4 inches. Its maximum height is 68.8 inches. That's the appeal of this tripod. I've seen some other stuff out there that I think is similar, maybe even cheaper, that I would maybe consider, but this is just the one that I found. So
this looks like the one that everybody uses when they've got the budget.
Yeah. The other big thing too, Nick, is just if you look here too, there's only 3 screw outs to actually screw your legs out, or 3 bars, which just means like even the higher up that bottom bar is still fairly thick, which will give you still a lot of support even when you're at that 68.8.
These are so different from video sticks. They just look comical to me.
This ball head, I actually might have put a different ball head in here. Again, Mark Denny is actually the guy who's using this one. I think it's from like the Colorado Tripod Company. I think I would consider something what he's doing other than this, but this is the one I put on here. You know what? I'm just going to Google it.
Yeah.
This would be the one I'd want. So the big differences between these two, like this one's a good head. It would do everything, but all these little knobs and turns are all kind of small, whereas this one's huge. You know, it's easy to turn, easy to do. This ball in the center thing, that just allows you, so going back to this one. So if you want to look down, you need that part of the head to fit into that little slot in order for it to go down. This one, you can go almost 360 down. You only have a few spots that you really can't hit. So just a little more flexibility. I think it's even a lighter tripod head as well. So realistically, I think I would probably do a ball head like this over the one I have. It's also cheaper. Actually, speaking of which too, this might be the actual tripod I would get as well. So also cheaper, but I think it's got some similar specs. So yeah, tripod number 2 as well, with some spikes and some different feet added
on there.
The next thing, this one's, do you know what? I have this in here. I'm not sure I would do it. It's a panoramic head. I currently have one. I've used it twice. Do you know what? I'm just gonna do that. The Edicron quick release. I like the idea of it. Would I do it? I think no, I'd probably just stick with the L brackets. So the next thing on the list are filter kits. So what I currently all have Lee filters is what I use. I shifted this to use the Nissi ones. The grads and stuff are glass in these, which would be clear. Maybe I'd wreck them more. I don't know. As far as what I'm seeing, the filters themselves are actually more clear. I have like the long exposure ones from Lee, which give like a little bit of a blue tinge, which I actually use 9 times out of 10. But
what about Tiffin? You don't like Tiffin?
Do you know what? I'm not even sure if Tiffin makes like a filter set like this.
That's a good question. They tend to make 4x5, 6 or 6x6.
Here's the other thing too, is it's confusing. There is a pile of brands out there. There's Nissi, there's Case, there's Lee, as I mentioned, and oh man, I'm missing like another big one, and they have kind
On
of a cool
movies,
name.
they're 85% of the time, except for some obscure ones, almost always Tiffin.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like they all, again, too, like Lee's filters are typically top notch, but these cheaper is maybe not the way to say it, but these other ones are coming out and sort of disrupting it. So like a big
Yeah, it's a
difference.
nice little kit.
Yeah, a big difference here between what I currently have to this one is this plate is metal. My Lee one is plastic. Gonna see if they show. The other thing that you can't really see on here is this. This is your circular polarizer, and that actually goes in here, and you can, with this wheel, spin it around. Sorry, this wheel up here.
Spin it around, yeah.
And so then that polarizer is on there as well. I currently don't, I have like a separate square polarizer, and to sort of work it is a little bit odd in the Lee ones. Now, with that said, I am also using the older Lee system. The new Lee system copies this, but it's still plastic, not metal. So anyways, I went with Nissi.
Yeah, that's nice.
The other thing with the Nissi is, if I can find it, this switch. So this just allows me to stack filters, so I can have the one behind with the polarizer on it. And if I need to, say, put grad at an angle, I can throw this unit on it, throw my grad in, and it's at an angle.
It just clips on to the clip on.
Yeah. So it's a pretty slick little system. So it's kind of funny because when you work in video, it's all about light, right? And how, you just add lights or put in lights to
as much light as you can.
Yeah, to deal with things. When you're doing landscape photography, you don't exactly have, a big light with a big softbox that you can put up. So you find ways to deal with light problems or to add light things into it. So just missing from that kit,
basically varying levels of grad.
Right. So missing from that kit is just a bunch of these different filters, grad filters.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see all the different things.
From 1 stop to 5 stop, whatever I was missing, I added in.
Yeah.
This one,
just the little thing there. Yeah, it's cool.
So I'm sure you've seen it, like when you take a photo, sunrise, sunset, or whatever, even if the sun's not up yet, there's a band right in the center, right on that horizon line, that's just white or overexposed.
Yeah.
That's how you deal with it.
That's so cool.
So yeah, adding that stuff. This one is just for fun. So that's what it does.
Oh, nice. That's kind of neat.
I actually own some, I can't remember what brand they are, but I own some filters that do this now. Barely use them, but they're fun when you do. There was also some filter wraps, cases for that stuff. What kind of continuing cases and stuff, just little knickknacks, gear wraps, different gear pouches, things to strap things on. So all these little tools. I had those sensor swabs.
I would actually get a cup holder on the sticks.
That's a good idea.
Getting over.
Rip ties I kind of like as well. I've got some bongo ties, I think, in here somewhere as well, wherever they are.
Bunch of little stuff I should have put on too. Yeah, it's good.
The photographic solution sensor swab. So before I just had the swabs, so this is a whole like kit to clean your sensor. Again, when you're out in the mud and dirt and stuff, just things happen. Here's my other battery pouch I was talking about earlier. Another wrap. This memory card holder, again, it's a different card holder than we've seen before, but it would be for the Fujifilm. And then the last thing, going to the camera bags. So I put 3 on here just because I figured I would need like that much to carry the amount of crap I have, especially too when I haven't gone through the Fujifilm one yet. So the first thing, these inserts would go inside the Shimoda Designs bag. This would be the Shimoda design bag. So this would be like the biggest bag out of all of them. So when you really need to pack up and go and live, that's the other thing too. So like this is all made for camera plus like camping or whatever else you're doing. The McKinnon bag, which I currently own, it's a great bag. I have all literally like my day kit is this kit. It's what I take. The big thing I like about this one is it doesn't really show it, but this expandable area. So if I make a weekend trip back home or wherever, I take this bag, I load that front part with my clothes, and that's it. And then just one more other alternate bag, just another larger Tamba bag when you head out.
Yeah, then you get the cardboard cutout of Peter McKinnon with the every bag. But
Yeah. So the Fujifilm. Oh, there we go. So I put a different ball head in there, but that was the idea. So I put it into this one. The Fujifilm.
So that's your Canon one. Now we're Fuji. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the reason this one is medium format, if people don't know what that is, just the sensor size is twice the size of the EOS R full frame one. It does some nicer things. Your colors roll off nicer, your contrast rolls off nicer, things like that, simply because the sensor is larger. So that's why I would entertain this one. This ultimately would be the camera you'd want to use 9 times out of 10. Oh yeah, and it's 102 megapixels. Again, the screen protector for it, the L bracket for it, the shutter release for it. This is the only one I could find for it, which kind of sucks because I would want more of an intervalometer thing so I could actually set things a little bit more. But hopefully I could handle that.
Might be able to do that in camera.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Batteries for it, battery charger for it. I'm just going to bring this guy up here. Lenses. So I batted this around a lot. I'm not confident this is what I like in my kit, but that's okay. Basically, so this 100 would be your 85. So that's why I put that in there.
Okay, yeah.
The 23 f4 would actually be your like Astro. If you did Astro, it would be your super wide. If you did wide, like this would be closer to like a 14 or 15 mil thing, I think, maybe 17.
I like the all black look. They look really slick.
Yeah, they look like they're nice and they're supposed to be pretty well built. Like no one ever says anything bad about them, that's for sure. This lens would probably be the wide lens that I would use 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, you'd get one of those and then maybe that 32 to 64 or something like that.
Yeah, like that's what I battled with is like, which would I actually need this or use this? I kind of doubt I would. I think like realistically, I would probably do this lens, the 100 to 200 5.6 and the 250 f4. And actually even the 250 f4, I might not do. Like I might just stick to like wide stuff for this and really just the 2 lens kit.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and with that said, all those other accessories from the other wish list would be, what sort of fills that up. So that would be my 2 camera setup. It would be about $55,000, which is insane to do, but it would be pretty fun.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Anything I missed, Nick? There was a lot there.
Yeah, you picked up on a lot of the knickknacks and stuff like that. I would want to throw in at least one little Sennheiser and maybe a little audio recorder or something for you, just to open up the option of doing some kind of YouTube videos or something like that while you're out there. But maybe you just make up for that with getting a little GoPro or a DJI action cam or something that you can.
It's just funny, neither one of us put that on our list, eh?
Yeah, I should have, and just because I've got one, I just assumed that it would always be there. But they're handy little cameras to have, at least one of them in your kit.
Yeah, for sure. That's the other thing too. Like these are kind of like, I would say, call them dreamland. I actually think yours is probably more realistic than mine. Again, a lot of that stuff on mine, would I actually do? I don't know. If I had nothing but money, I'd probably just Fujifilm it and run.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think, yeah, I should have, now that we've said the list out loud, there's some changes that I would have made to mine for sure, and maybe not tried to get to a certain price point, just build a kit.
Yeah. You know what though? This is like, I think that's like, the point of this as well though, is like, no matter when you do this, there's always something else. And that's kind of the problem with gear in photography or videography, that there's always something else and you're always going to be wanting something more. So with that said, Nick, what would be the items you would focus on? Like if you had three things, like these three things are your absolute must starting out.
Yeah, if I was starting out, the camera, I honestly wouldn't worry about the camera as much, but just get one good lens, a good, doesn't even have to be good, just that G4 Sennheiser wireless mic, and really any kind of camera, as long as you can record on it. And if you can't, just a little audio thing. But yeah, really good lens. I would want two. I'd want my 85, and then I'd want the 16 to 35. And I think I could film almost anything on those two.
Yeah, right. You know what, too? Like, so, before I got that 70 to 200, I shot for, I think it was almost a year and a half on a 24 millimeter lens, and it didn't really hinder me. Like, I still produce stuff, and it almost like forces you, when you have less stuff, it forces you to be more creative. So it's almost like a benefit to do it that way. Again, too, with my kit, talking about only having two lenses, I think that's partly the reason I want to do it that way, is just to like, this is good enough and it's all you need. And if you need anything else, you're wrong. Just figure a way around it.
Yeah, try to find a solution with what you got.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, my recommendations too for someone if they're starting out in photography, a good lens. I don't care what it is. Everyone recommends starting out with a 50 prime. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it is a good lens. Now, every brand has them. You just have to pick one that's good. The sad part of it is it's probably going to cost you money, and that's where you should put that money in my mind.
Yeah, the 85 1.6 or 1.8 for Canon, it's just a beautiful lens too. Like,
yeah,
really nice.
And it
lens.
doesn't matter the body on it. That lens is going to look good, and it will last you your lifetime.
Yeah.
The second thing I would say is a good tripod. Obviously, that's kind of a big part of my system is a tripod, and going there. This is again for photography, not for video. And then honestly, like past that, like I really don't care. It's really just like two things: get good at Photoshop or Lightroom. Doesn't matter what.
Yeah,
that's all it takes to be a photographer. Good lens, good tripod, and a good at the programs.
Yeah, in practice, really.
Yeah, shoot a lot. What's Macklemore's line? At the greats weren't great because at birth they could paint. The greats were great because they paint a lot.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
Cool. Do you have anything else you want to add, Nick, or should we wrap it up?
No, I think we should wrap today up and move on. And hopefully, if we can get rolling with some stuff, we'll have some actual fun stuff coming here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so thanks for joining us. Hopefully that wasn't too long for everybody. I know it was a bit of a drag at times. I might try to speed that up.
A little long for me, but
hey, I had to sit through your crap too, Nick. Yeah, we can leave it at that. Have a good day, everyone.
Welcome to oh boy, that was so bad.
Well, you're off to a good start, Nick. You're off.
Got carried away with the finger point. What says my internet connection's unstable? How is that even? I'm on.
Weren't you gonna chime in with a like never use a tripod or something like that? Thought you were gonna add some comedy spice to the end.
Where did my notes go? Must have just been in the text message to you. Oh my! Do you know what I just found? That short film we were gonna make. Holy cow! We've got some great stuff here, Emery.
Do you know what's funny is like I've pretty much gone out of my way to reject what everyone says that you should do for marketing. Like, should I have made a YouTube page with my name on it? Probably. Did I? No.
Can you send me our list to gmail.com?
You have too many emails.
Share it with me. I know.
You need to
organize my life. No, you're like a really good host, so I think we're on the right track. Look, don't get me wrong. If you ask to borrow my camera, you can borrow it tomorrow. I don't care. But I don't like lending it out to... You know what I mean?
I get it. I don't like giving any of my stuff out, to be honest.
Yeah.
I like hoarding it. It's so terrible.
Yeah.
Love hoarding it. So I'm grabbing the Slurpee, getting out of the car, going to the trunk, putting the Slurpee down. Now this is key. See the Slurpee?
Okay, it's choppy.
So that Slurpee's still there. You see it?
Yeah.
You see the Slurpee now?
Oh no!
Definitely spilled it all in my car.
When you first start out, or at least when I did, it was like gear. By then at a certain point, you do realize if this is your business that you need to make money. 2 channels?
Judging by the back panel, it looks like it, yes.
Well, then my list is crap. Oh boy, my hair is out of control. Oh, the hat's good. I should get to bed. Tired.